Chevra, welcome to another episode of Positivity. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm excited to make a call to the podcast. Mensen was here in the source of the hotline, mensen was here in the source of the Google Drive, of Zing.com 24/6, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and many other platforms. Obviously, as the eerste source of WhatsApp or the Telegram, zijn ingevoerd met deze. Jeder listener appreciate and especially the listeners of the hotline. The hotline bekomt best tausende calls a dag. Mensen lassen messages out, and geen van ons reply. And gaap ze hotline. Wie ze replies dat ze hotline. So, but I wanted to say it means a lot to me, and ik ga nog maar een podcast en ik houd het op een gewisse standard en ik appreciate when mensen geven de feedback. It shows me wie ik ben en wie ik zal mij houden, and it means a lot. So thank you. Hand heb ik een goede guest. So I saw him and then I met him. So I feel like I know him. Hij heet Laser Ungar en hij arbeidt voor Meister Co, right? Ik kan maar zeggen.
Yes.
He's the head sales guy. En zijn giddish is dat hij brengt eraan products was from the little guys. That's ook there. Van de gevre was me weiß nicht. He do a bunch of companies out there. He's going to explain a little bit better, but hij brengt eraan giddish. Jetzt jeder weiß, ich bin a foodie, Ellie Weber with the Weber with food geht zusammen. Der was watch my status, oder viele podcasts weiß, ich enjoy zu reden von food, posten wegen food. Jetzt bin ich auf the keto diet. And take shout out to Carbolicious, a Weber Media client that just makes delicious products with says hot zero carbs. Many of the products in some do get auch zijn keto friendly, but ich mit food guide zusammen. And the only thing is, I never found somebody that is willing to come up and talk about food. Menschen haben mooi, das ist ein bisschen a sensitive topic. Und mit erst about reden wegen favors. Because sie do food, and sie do, you get the food, nicht sagen, you get the food, sie do, hast, geht daran a question von ich scheirem. So das ist lebendig. Food is, and I didn't know this, food is the number one industry in America, right? The number one money making.
Ich gehe dir sagen an Nummer.
Noch dogs. Dogs is number 2, food is number 1.
Ich gehe dir sagen aber eine Sache, wo der Dog kommt nicht daran, und der sagen, schackt. Und andere aber, wie sagst du Google oder ChatGPT oder anyone else, andere aber mach Research auf dem.
Ja.
Wie viel Geld halst die is the kosher food market a year?
Okay, 10 billion.
Kosher meint kosher. Ich rede nicht dafke Sagdes oder Valove oder Bedat. Ich rede kosher, versteht sich auch just okay. Aber wenn man redet von the kosher food industry, wie viel Geld halst die is es a year?
10 billion.
2022, the total was 26 billion.
26 billion. Wow. So ich darf nach 1 von der 26%.
Das wahrscheinlich auch nicht. Ich lege das Zehntel von 1 in was dunkel man ergens immer sagt. Aber ja.
So anyway, to finish the introduction, ich bin echt excited dem zu haben, because Essen ist eine Sache, was in der System arbeitet, jede 3 Schuhe ist man noch einmal hingerig oder darstreck. Und man darf essen und trinken. Und es ist sehr interessant. So, ich meine, es geht eine sehr interessante Conversation. Du hast da Menschen, es hat nicht mehr sich herauszulegen, es hat nicht mehr zu heranbringen neue Items in the market. Man hat gesehen, eine Sache von Frau und Feder status, and hat nicht mehr zu reden wegen der Product. And this is the last thing that I want to say in the introduction, is that I'm a very strong believer. Ich tue social media, das ist doch mein business. And I believe that es sach stärker wie a paper ad, und man geht morgen und man kauft der Licht, ist stärker, wenn du hast einen Mann, was warst das. And you told me the impact of it, but you see it, the zestes, and I go on a grocery, and every time I see it, in mijn hand, and go me was in the cereal, voor die reds wegen. And I'm like, okay, deze the cereal was laser red. Like, it's not the paper ads. I think it's a much stronger way of advertising. And zwischen mich und dich, says I hinder it still the price. Meaning you can do a paper ad campaign for $100,000, or you can do one status ad, which cost them $1,000. So
eine von
I commend you. To be a role model, what it means, and giving out a product and talking about it. So without further ado, Laser Ungar, welcome, and thank you for giving us from your time. Du bist a busy man. It took time to track you down.
I got you, but...
So then, bist a out of the country, so thank you for being here. Take it away.
I appreciate it. And we'll start with that just because as part of an introduction, I think it's very important to understand. If you want to do paper ads could be very, very beautiful and nice. Was a zara shine Sache, when you can start like a beautiful graphic, you pay a lot of money for people to put it together, it catches the eye, it's colorful, the labels, the logos, the marketing, everything costs a fortune of money.
Yeah.
Now, if you have $100,000, $1 million to spend on paper ads, most probably paper ads does have a better effect than you think. If you read a magazine every single week, and you see the ads, not even knowing that it doesn't even interest you, you read the articles, but in between every article, there's an ad from a company. Okay. Again and again and again. Subconsciously, it goes in the back of your brain. When you go then to the store, you relate this item, without even thinking, without even knowing, that he already hooked you way, way before by putting in every single week 8 ads in the magazine that you are reading. You think you just read the articles, but this is what paper ads does. It goes into your brain as a subconscious idea, not consciously. You don't even think that he speaks to you. But when you go down to the store, somebody else speaks about it, it becomes something that you just don't even know it's actually becoming in your head, and that's where you go. Now, if you don't have $100,000, you have $2,000 to advertise. $2,000 you put into a paper ad, that's going to be one ad in a paper in one area, 2 areas for one time. That's it. That means when the guy is by the next article that he's reading, or the next magazine, the next week, it's already long gone. You already put down $2,000, the money you had for marketing, and now you start with basically nothing. If the person read it and actually looked at it and he sees it genuinely, the item, okay, I hear you. But if you don't get to that point, you already put down $2,000, $5,000, the whole money you have for marketing, and what now? Another thing, a lot of smaller companies have an issue. Because they are small, they don't have that amount to be able to constantly do it. So for them to be able to have the power of paper ads is really, really tough. So that's where this whole idea of doing social media became very friendly to us. So I can go, like you said, to a small company and explain to him, do you have $50,000 to do advertising campaign for the next 2 months? If you do, well, that is maybe the way to go. But if you only have $5,000, I will not do a paper ad because it's not worth it. What I will try to say is take the $5,000, do 2 podcasts, do 4 or 5 front feather videos, make it go round, around, around. And as you know, you make a podcast 5 months ago, there is somebody watching it today.
Absolutely.
With a paper ad, nobody's going to look for a Ami or a Bishpacha or a Moment for 5 months ago. Even 2 weeks ago, you don't want to look at it. Right. It's done. It's gone. So for that reason, I do believe that social media is a very powerful platform, being that it's always, once out there, it's always there. It's just going to be there. Now, I could watch it right away. There's another 1,000 people that will watch it 5 years from now. You wouldn't even know. There's videos where I was involved from, I think, about 8 years ago. That I still get from people, nice video. And I was like, what video are you talking about? And he tells me a product. He's like, I did this video 5 years ago. But bottom line is, that's what he saw. It's on YouTube. So that's one part, the difference between big companies and small companies. And I always ask that question. Can you explain me, Ali? Tell me, why in the world is Coca-Cola and Pepsi advertising millions of dollars every single year? Who doesn't know in America Coca-Cola? Why spend millions of dollars when you take this millions of dollars, put it into your pocket?
Is it to stay relevant? I'm guessing.
More than relevant is what I spoke to you earlier. That whenever they put out these advertisements, right now, everybody knows Coca-Cola and Pepsi is cola. Anything else is something else. Cola, ask any person on the street. Yid Odragoy.
It's kind of like the paper ads for them, meaning I have the Super Bowl, I have the trucks, I have the days, I have money to spend because of subconscious, not so much about conscious.
And I'll tell you even something else that you're going to laugh at me.
So what's stronger, by the way, conscious or subconscious marketing?
I believe subconscious. In my opinion, subconscious. Even the paper ad is subconscious. But the same thing is with the video, but the video is differently set. A paper, once done, goes to the garbage. Where in a video, you have it more. Now, I believe that with time, video advertising will get more expensive, will be the same issue to a certain point, and you're going to have to come up with clever new ideas how to get your point across. Right now, the big guys don't feel comfortable to come on screen and talk as much. There are some, but very, very few. So right now, I use it to my advantages. I am not going to tell you that this is going to be the way it's going to be ever, and I do believe that eventually marketing on a social platform is going to be by far stronger than paper, as you can see. Papers is slowly going down.
You wanted to say even more before. You remember what you wanted to say? Okay, so interesting. First of all, also I want to give a shout out to Power 7 Group for hosting us. Met the beautiful fish tanks in with the titsa. Guide about tasting the fish.
Okay, listen, we just talk about it, right? Food is what we say. So
okay, so this is very, very interesting because what I found with the social media is that I do see certain campaigns, and I've had many clients already, that I can't compare. I ga saai paper ad campaign. They do saai paper ad campaign, saai the social media campaign. I didn't think we'll talk about this, but it is interessant van mensen zeggen about marketing of food, And they tell me, kick down results of social media, which is a lot cheaper. Yeah, man, social media is $3,500 a month. For $3,500 a month, all you get is one ad in the Ami Mishpacha. Maar dat is van de designing and the and the ganze planning and branding and whatever, the ganze Sach.
One more point, Eli, I want to add, because you asked me earlier, and I want to make sure that I bring out, you said something, I want to ask one more question that I want you to answer on that.
Yeah.
Why, whenever you go to any place, you'll always see a Pepsi machine, a vending machine, right next to a CocaCola machine? You ever thought about it? Next time you go anywhere, watch. You're always going to see not two different locations, one next to each other.
So what's
Why?
No.
So I'll talk about one of the companies that I bought to market, just the concept to understand that everything that we do, when I say we, I'm not saying us, me and you as personal. I'm talking about us as people that try to explain what it is that you do. The reality is that when there is Pepsi or Coke, the conversation is which one is a better Coke or which one is a better Cola. But the concept is Cola is here. Which one do you want? Which one don't you want? So I'm going to tell you a story, interesting enough, and actually we have that as one of them to show you. The idea is actually this company. So this company is a Meister Beverage Company. And the funny part is I told you I really didn't want to do anything as food because I really don't want to sell anything here. But to bring out the point that I want to discuss, I'm going to give it to you. When he came out with this product, which is basically Vita Wasser, which is basically a kosher vitamin water. That's the idea. Okay. When we came out the first few months, when this came out, which was about 18 months ago when this came out the first time, it was a struggle. Why? Because a person came into the store, saw this product, kosher vitamin Wasser, costs a little bit more, whatever, why don't you need it? Vitamin water is perfectly fine, which could be true, maybe, I don't know, but this is the reality they said. Okay. Once there was competition out, which there is right now, 2 or 3 competitions out in the market doing the exact same thing, now things changed. Now it's not anymore, it's vitamin water against Vita Wasser. Now there is the non-kosher one. So if you want it, buy it, drink it, enjoy it. Okay. But if you want kosher, there is Vita Wasser kosher, there is Vita Splash kosher, there is this kosher. Which one of the kosher ones is the best? All of a sudden, because of competition, this more than quadrupled the sales since competition came out. So somebody's going to ask me that question, how is it possible? Right. He took away part of the market share.
Correct.
Because we make this product. So back to the conversation that we had earlier about Coke and Pepsi. When there is next to each other, Cola is here. I'm going to do everything for you to buy Pepsi if I'm Pepsi. I'm going to everything buy Coke if I'm a Coke guy. Right. But the concept of Cola is here. Right. Everybody else is not Cola.
They say the Veldzo competition brings customers,
right? Absolutely.
And I want to say a beautiful point on that is that regarding podcasts, which we're recording now, and in Burgsham we are a #1 podcast, but to do nog een paar podcasts, and mention, kan ik wel doen mensen van Tanis met deze, but I told the people from Tanis, andere podcasters, I said, jede podcast is öffentlich, is fadir, is a toive fadir, because it brings relevancy to the podcast industry. We can argue if it's a good or not, whatever, wie ze gaat is een extra zaak, but meaning that people ask me, ze baden dich een scheine anders gegeven met dat podcast, I say, what do you mean? Wie gaat me nog een heer in Jenem's podcast? Me komt terug te mir. So it's beautiful that you said
Can
that.
I even make it a little bit deeper?
Yeah.
And andere bezoek die mit sich noch points nicht.
Yeah.
Wenn es gibt so zweite Podcast, ja? Es doch dule Masse, aber der goin doch do thousands, if not millions of podcasts. But lass mal reden beim heimischen Neulem.
Yeah.
Lass mal do berg 20 podcasters, berg wij verspinkelen für just an approximate an idea. In some of them, they're very good. Some of them, not so good. Some of them are controversial. Some of them is straight to the point. There's all different kinds. But if you put an effort to have a quality podcast, and then someone goes to other people and listens to other podcasts that are not so quality based, don't you think for 1 second that's only going to drive? Look, 100%. I listen to Eli, I listen to the other guy, I listen to him, I listen to him. Yeah. Okay, for me, those 5 people are my 5 favorites. You know why? Because I enjoy the way they talk, the way they behave, the guests that he has on his show. He's this, he's that. My point is, by having the opportunity of other people showing whatever they do, if the guy is that good, then I can learn from him. And I'll know how I become the best podcast out there. If someone is doing things that I wouldn't do because it's below me, it's not my dignity to do that thing, then that guy is going to say, okay, Eli is my guy. Right. And that's where I think is where it makes a difference.
Either way is that toive. And by the way, I'm noticing that the house Zara get the English. Ich will traag me to record in Yiddish. But English is fine, by the way, because English, the mensen was read in English have more de getanas.
I know.
They say, what do you mean? I speak English. I don't understand. In the Menschen, some reden Yiddish, they're like, okay, most people that speak Yiddish still speak. So I'm okay with I'm okay with speaking it English especially because it's food, and we're going to talk a lot of.
So mostly, I would tell you is I had that with Freud when we did some videos, and I got some phone calls from his customers, from his listeners, from his followers.
Yeah.
Why always speak Yiddish? So the reality is that the way I started, and obviously we'll have this conversation where this all started and how we got into these things, is that I am born, raised, Yiddish, Chassidish. I grew up in Williamsburg. It's all wie man sucht, heimisch, mit bald auch an die ganzen Details. In bei mir red ich mehr Jiddischlich. English habe ich mich nicht gelernt in Geider, kann sagen sicher. But I learned on myself, basically when I was whatever, I was like, I think it was 18 or whatever that was, about that age. I literally wanted to know English, and obviously, ich kenne ein bisschen, I know the Russian program, ich habe gelernt in English, aber da weiß ich nicht alles. Ich habe mich nicht mehr lernen books, mit papers, mich zu lernen, and I learned English on my own.
Novels or the medical health?
News, essays.
History
not so much, but more what's up. I
Articles.
like to know what's happening. I like to have an opinion on things. I wouldn't say that all my opinions is right, but I'm pretty strong-minded when it comes to certain things. I love to have conversations. I'm very social. When a part of what got me into sales is actually social connection. It's interesting. But I'm sure we'll get to it with the time. So.
Right. Okay, so before we go into the story, what is your opinion on kosher? Controversies do achillik zwischen kosher food and Jewish foods?
No. Says do achillik. Ich will das geben zu verstehen in short, es ist verstehen. It's do a store in Florida. It does not belong to a Jew.
Okay.
They have some Middle Eastern, so maybe there are some people who are Jewish from where they come from, but I mean, nothing, to me, they don't keep Shabbos, it's not kashrus based. And I know one of these customers buys every month 250 cases, it's a product I don't sell, so I'm not trying to sell anything, of the gelled gefilte fish.
Wow.
You hear me?
Okay.
That's called non-kosher Jewish, although the fish is kosher food. My point is, there are certain things like Second Avenue Deli in Manhattan. I'm sure you heard about it. It's nothing to do with kosher. It's just a kosher type of food. There is no hechsher in that place at all. And they don't have pork. And they don't have treife, but they sagen, the pastrami, and the Sachen, was verkaufen dort. Schnitzel, the Werte, was I using, the types of food, is a heimische food. Gefilte fish.
Right.
These type of things that they sell for the person that it has some background, Yiddishkeit, and they connect with food.
Right. Okay, so we're narrowing it down to kosher essen. Jetzt in kosher du, OU ownt, wieso kann es sein, wenn die gehst daran nach ShopRite, oder nach Walmart, ich bin recently in Tulum, Mexico, kamat alles hat a OU. Why?
Simple. So actually, es ist gleiben, but OU hat a chassidische Satmering am Platsche gebieberet, was Arbeit für sei.
No way.
Und hat übergedreht als Stut mit Companies, als sie haben OU, ist a moiridige Male. Die verlierst nicht gut nicht in the outside world if there is a OU on the product.
Correct.
But you gain so much by simply opening yourself to become part of this $26 billion industry that if somebody only eats kosher, if there is no OU, no Star K, or no any other valuable logo, they won't touch it.
So he's the one convincing Goyish companies,
Correct.
put it up, we're just going to come check your plant once
We're going
a
to make
month.
sure that
the ingredients is good, and you'll tap into potentially another 1%.
Correct. That's exactly what they're doing. Now, obviously, if you're going to do a trife item, they're just not going to give it to you. You have to follow their lead, what is good or what is not good. They tell you they
certain
have.
items are easier, certain are not.
People don't know that. People think that OU or Star K are this schwache Hechsche. Yeah. It's not true. I think in
so
a certain...
will ich verstehen. Laut wie ich habe verstanden bis hand is meaning OU und Star K haben gewisse Killers, was bei uns Chassidim essen man nicht, halt man nicht, whether it's a school of Akem or Pasach, whatever.
Sach mehr wie nicht Chassidim. So there's this gekornet ja Chassidim issue, which ich agree there, as that is part of it.
Because that's the big question is, okay, so why don't most people eat OU? Or if so geht, was essen man?
So, ich will endlich Yeraim Schleimen.
Okay.
Because Yeraim Schleimen kann sein Chassidische, could be Litwische, could be Yeshivische. Nein, ich rede, Menschen sind echte Schäumetore Mitzvahs, was weiß, ob Chef der Welt in der ganzen Goal-Seite Leben ist, wie man kann umkommen.
Okay, Regel. Litwische, as far as I know, do eat OU.
Some yeah, some
not. Do in Lakewood, most of them do.
Don't say most, because the Frimme Litwische don't, As you go a little bit, there's plenty Hasidisch, was ich kenne das essen heute.
Chulav Akem, es Litwische halten von dem.
So Chule Wacken ist eine
eine
Sache.
Sache.
So du, Lemuschel, du in Lakewood, du hast sicher das schon gehört, das muss jeder was Yashon.
Ja.
Die ist das schön, wenn es gebaut hat.
Correct, dort geht.
Aber es ist nicht kein Problem, because for the Hasidische Mensch, was uns halten wir, is because based of the shittas, wo sind da Balamachschieren. Für Menschen, die bleiben in Willen sein, also ich will sein, als Ayid. Ich bin auf dem Level nicht, ist nicht jetzt das Wort, aber at least in der wanting, was ich will, was ich mit Masgagaya, was ich wollte gewollt sein von mir, wenn ich kennt ihn, was ich kennt ihn, wenn Sachen gehen, aber Welt ist Welt, Leben ist Leben, ist es eine zweite Sache. So, der fremde Mensch, was schon mit teure Mitzvahs, was will bei ihm, geht schon an Details, ein Mensch, was schon mit teure Mitzvahs, du hast Sachen, wie es jetzt gesagt Muschel, Passakem, Chulewakem. Diese sind Sachen, wo es, da muss ich fast noch Matter gewähnen, du Menschen musst jetzt noch Matter gewähnen, in einem Weg, da wir mismen, aber da wir da kein Grinne, dass die Jotrein sich in der ganze Kusche weg. Again, ich bin nicht kapuisig, und keiner von mir ist
Chulav Akem ist lechoire, ich verstehe the point von dem, because it's a key. Was meint Chulav Yisroel, Chulav Akem?
So,
Nein, this is a shit, correct? Am I right?
So, mit dem Point ist der Concept, als Chulav Akem, und nicht so ein Problem, noch die handige Zeiten, is es nicht ein sackgefälliges Issue. And again, das ist klar. Man soll mich da luchen, ask your local roof.
Ja, nein, man schmiest.
Aber als schmiest aus, wo die Menschen suchen, mit sagt, wo das ist, wegen Chulav Akem, der Territz ist, amul gewinn am Zies, aber kein Mensch kann trosten am Mensch. Als Tomer missan, die Kia Kusher, Kiez kann rosten de Milch, und dort kann so de Milch, und Tomer kann hoben, von der Treifen, wo du Sach mehr kien, kann das kaufen von billiger, und kann dich verdrehen nach Kopf, als er gegeben der Kusher, nicht der Kusher, kann machen mehr Geld, und ein Mensch, der nicht oimet, sie können sogar auf sein eigenes Geld, als du zit in alles clean and green. Du hast das Sibbe, wo es mal jetzt. Handige Zeiten, wenn der Government verlangt, wenn die rief dich Kusher, wenn der Government, die rief dich Kusher, schicken sie auf einen Inspector. Ich muss meinen Tat hat a butcher store, a frimme butcher store. Ich habe bald reden von einer Story von meinen Taten, in Stand zu verstehen, how things were when used to be. But the eightsome concept is, as a Bamachscher ist du dir zu suchen, seine Rules and Regulations, wo es ist richtig und nicht richtig based, wo der Bamachscher sucht ihm auf du. Zu suchen als OU mit Star K, stellt sich auf jede Sache, was kennt seine Issue von mir von dir, not necessarily. Aber von den Sachen, was sie halten, sind sie gewiss einfach strenger. Wie anybody mag zullen maken. In andere wetten, being that it's OU, does not mean in any way als een schwache rechtse. Van de andere zaten du als ach, wo sich kende zoeken kloeren. Oei wat matter geween, wo ich was damals nicht gegessen.
So wuss no muschels bei sei gringer, wie wuss bei uns ist?
Das bin ich.
Nein, this is the office boss. Okay.
No.
Whatever. Ich habe policy, ich cut nicht. So es ist perfect, wenn das geschehen. So macht das the ganze situation a bisschen laid back. What happens? Einer called Power 7 Group jetzt. Will bekommen a check. The company get checks. They go into congregations of soon taxes.
Okay.
And they suchen sei regas, kam sich da bezahlen taxes of a congregation. So they send you back money.
Oh, wow.
This is the business model.
Amazing.
So yeah, so the same. Anyway, go ahead. Ja, so kannst du mir geben ein Item, was haben, was der Mann sagt, ich recorde der Podcast mit Kalmi.
Okay. Kalmi Schwarz, ist
ja, ich kann sehen den Spiegel. So bin ich gegangen die ganze Zeit. Jede 10 Minuten haben sich beide aufgestellt, checken, ob sie record.
Ich meine, das glaube ich, wie stellst du auf den Geist?
Ja, und da haben wir sehr nur gehabt.
Ah, du bist real?
Ja.
Du bist dir?
Exactly.
I got you.
At the end of the day, if you look at the views, Baruch Hashem, sehe ich, als sie machen Shows. Sie do podcasts, haben ja Production mit 3 Angles. The meest habe ich lieb, wenn Menschen sagen mir, that they like this idea. Meaning, als du zu eine andere Angle, jede Minute, sie sehen, die 2 Menschen, nicht du kann cuts, nicht du kann edit.
Just a conversation.
Es ist ruhiger für die Augen, zu just watchen 2 Menschen. Wie viele Menschen watchen, oder Menschen kicken, or anyway, but anyway. Okay, ist du ein Item, was OU, was für die heimische Iraien wir schleimen, so wie du sagst, wird nicht gegessen und OU halt, als ja kosher?
Ich kann dir nur sagen, was letztens geschehen, und ich weiß verspinklich the details behind it, so if anybody else out there, yeah, I'm sure you can comment and know on that. Ich weiß verspinklich, aber zwei Sachen, es gehen OU, nun gehen OUD. Ich meint OUD.
Yeah.
La Masse ist auch eine Sache, die sagen OUDE.
Okay.
Meint so dairy equipment. Maar niet genitzt kamillig, niet kamillige ingredients. Aber so, handige Zeiten, alles am Mugen OUDE ist Hand OUD. So, du musst von wie sollst du wissen, was ist DE, which is actually nicht so gefährlich auf certain Sachen, wie OUD, which is absolutely a problem, if it's Chulawakim and the house is a problem. So, huben a roof,
yet again, also wie du sagst, die Reihen verschleimen, simply don't touch OUD die.
For that reason, they don't know
En
what
wenn
is
du
what
ein
isn't.
stärkere Geder, touchst du nicht OU?
Correct. In based nicht wegen dem, was OU ist schlecht in any way. So, if dann Tate esst OU und die wirst essen OU, go for it. Es ist alles feine Wohlings. In OU sind alle gewoile, frimme Jiden. Und Menschen gappen sich nicht für was wir reden. Die reden echte, frimme, jeraim, schleime Jiden. Efter nicht mit der Platz geschrieben. Okay.
Right.
Von der anderen Seite, uns als a human being, who we are, if we know my Rav, I trust him, I know who he is, then I trust that whatever he tells me to do, I do, and it's on him.
Right.
If something is not I, it's on the roof.
Interessante question, right. Interessante question. Du gewisse Essen, was es ja ungehalten, ich weiß nicht again, wie viel die weißt, but this is just for the conversation. Du gewisse Essen, was es ja ungenehmen, that sie darf nicht kein Hechscher, du musst doch weiss, als Eier und Fisch, meine ich es ja ungenehm bei je. Eier in der Grocery hat nicht kein Hechscher. So, can we talk about that? Touch on
Ja,
that?
so ich kenne so eine Sache in der Muschel, wo es circa 20 Jahre zurück, und ich gehe in den Markt, nicht kein Flour mit kein Hechscher, nicht kein Salz mit kein Hechscher,
Zucker.
nicht kein Zucker mit kein Hechscher, nicht
Oil.
kein Oil mit kein Hechscher, und ich weiß nicht, du musst da mal gesagt praten, was nicht gewesen. Der paar meine sei simpel. Die kaufst du Muschel Chia Seeds.
Hatte du Tissues mit der Hechscher?
Which is für die zweite Sibbe.
was?
Tissues kann auch sein, Muschel, dass ein Mensch nicht das verpeisig. Just as an example, ich verkaufe Tischtücher. Mit der Hechscher.
Starch.
Starch.
Right.
Stammen ein regular Tischtüch. Ob die Tischtüch wird getein, bei einer Goyische Factory, wie sie kennen, sie warf sich sagen, ich kann dich nicht an. The
So, es
point
ist
is,
wichtig als auch mal
es
Hechscher.
ist sicher wichtig noch mehr. Ob der Baumachscher, wenn die trust, wenn die half, also der trustable source to know what to do, likes dir auf, down pressure to the mix on him. Wenn die geht drauf wie eine Welt, und geht dich fragen, hast du gegessen Kosher? Ich habe gefragt mal auf. Ga redt ze maar auf. Ich suche es nicht, man redt also, ga ze maar auf. My point is, ich denke einmal, man sucht es noch dachte von dem ganzen Werk von Christian, der sagt mir da ein. Zu suchen nein, darf man nicht da. Ich kann da alle suchen nein, das ist besser. Zu suchen ja, meint du das breite Plätze.
Right.
Noch als ich mir gesucht, wenn passt, kann man gerade zum gehen sein, 20 Herren von ihm, wenn passt, empfängt ihm dann die Starkheit. Geht kein Mensch sagen, ja.
Wow.
Es drei begehren, ja, nein. Frag nicht Kakasches, darfst nicht verstehen jeden kleinen Detail. Du kommst zu mir, weil ich habe gelernt, und ich weiß, was ja und was nein. Du fragst mir, ich mache mal, mach schon, was ich darf trachten. Once that's done, I'll tell you what my mind tells me. In eine, was meint zusammen ist, beschäftigt begleiten.
Aha, okay, so Fisch, Fleisch. Fisch in Eier, nicht Fleisch, Fisch in Eier. Darf er Hechscher?
Fish darf sicher
According to our look.
so fish darf sicher Hechscher only because you don't know how and which way it's cut. Now, if you go to the market,
Okay.
if you go to the market and you buy a complete salmon, die checkst das allein, die siehst, dass hat de Fließen, und die siehst, dass hat de gegriselte Sachen, wie heißt das, wie sie gesehen, Luschen Koidisch. Ich denke, okay, jetzt wieso check the Salmonen von a kosher Fisch, und die schnatzt over den Fisch.
Cascoises, Cascanes.
Ich denke nicht. Ich denke nicht der pinkliche Wärter, aber die zwei Sachen davon, die Fließfedern, ja, ist eins, und noch dann die Pintelig, was man
So
nennt.
wenn die a side of salmon is um a Hechscher heißt.
Overall, jetzt, look for a side of salmon mit any other actually, OU Stargate, is a gringer, wie andere, most probably.
Because it's fish.
Because it's fish, it's a salmon, and there's a clue as look Atlantic salmon mit OU it's Atlantic salmon.
En Eier.
Is ook geen probleem. Eier is een ganz probleem, darfst du kein Eier.
According to alle Loch, man.
Ich will nicht sagen, according to alle, but 99% I don't think.
Also darf nicht kein Hechscher.
I don't think davon kein Eier. Und ich kenne noch ein Muschel, chia seeds, flax seeds, oatmeal,
Spices.
spices, in gaat früher ausgerechnet, Zucker, Salz, Mehl. Aber was darf man wissen, als du blends? Jetzt wo weißt du, muss noch jene kann anlegen. Jetzt gaat früher anfangen zu sagen, wegen Mataten just the Concept, wegen du die Inspectors kommen heran. Wenn die meldst dich an die kosher Platz, sei geil mit Rules. So zu sagen für einen Menschen, muss als Flieger wegen Milch, wegen OUD. Hand an der Government trefft dich, an die riefst dich kosher, und die nicht da treifen Kie, geht er jetzt machen das Business.
Oh wow.
If you do it officially. So in Weiß because die giftiger melden, ich bin a kosher Platz. Jetzt die geht nicht kosher, was heißt die bist kosher? Und ich kann keine Mensch verdrehen kommen. Ich bin halal, ich bin nicht halal. Oder bist du reden von der Arab? My point is, wenn die das identifizieren, ich bin a kosher food industry, und ich verkaufe kosher, there's a minimum. Da suchen wir nicht fremde Sachen mit Candidas, aber the minimum is this and this and this and this. La Muschel, Chicken Butcher, man gerade wegen Butcher. Sie weißen, als kosher müsste salzen und schwenken, ja, müsste weiken, salzen und schwenken. They come into the store and they check for it.
Wow.
Das is how die alle meine Sachen arbeiten, is mit dem meine Idee. Jede Sache hat mit sich, was du Sachen sind simple, but not necessarily so.
Ich mir aus der Sieg.
Mach dich comfortable.
Ich meinte, ich bin comfortable. Wow, it's very interessant. Now, food is our Welt. It's very, very interesting. When ik ben in Tulum, jetzt Pesach, second days.
Tulum in Mexico.
Ja, Mexico. Gids van Fleisch, was zum Ohren dort kosher Fleisch von Chabad. Von Mexico City, actually. Hat man alles gekent kaufen in local dort.
Vegetables,
Frucht,
spices.
Vegetables, Eier, spices, like literally. Milch is de eine Sache, was er verkaufen. Was machen wir das da nicht bei uns? Ich wollte dich fragen.
Wo ist der Preis?
So, da haben wir Milch, was darf nicht kein Fridge.
Sando. Kosher.
Bei uns in den Groceries, du?
A rote bottle.
Ja, von was kommt das nachher heran?
So du, es tun alles durch.
Ist es just teurer oder was?
Es ist nicht so, es ist ein bisschen teurer.
So basically, Milch darf nicht kein Fridge.
A Milch darf nicht kein Fridge. It's called shelf-stable milk. Sag ich mir, ich habe Getreide auf Juden, ich habe gerade geredet mit einem German, mit einem Apfel. Gearbeitet auf dem gewollt sei stark Lamas, I guess es ist ihm nicht gelungen, dem Idee. Ich bekomme von den ganzen Tag für Menschen wegen Products and Companies. Ideas und mit Reit.
In die Emphasis jeder Meinung?
Ich probiere. Ich halte sehr stark nicht nur auf prospects, possible prospects down the road, but just Menschen.
Yeah.
Ich feel more connected. Ich habe gerade Interviews mit ich habe gesagt, ich habe gerade so viel von den Podcasters und von Cisa Freund Fede, Cisa Felsen, das ist wie der Chaim Perlowitz, das ist damals am Anfang noch gesagt, Zemmel. Ich kenne mich nicht mal von allen, was es gewesen. Sei das sag mal, ich habe obviously auch ein bisschen zu tun, because at a certain point it kept me really, really busy. In Bochsheim, ich habe ein bisschen hectic schedule, ich kann mich geschrieben gut geben. Und ich kann nicht lieber wegzupushen kann Menschen. Ich habe gesagt, mal Fokus für Menschen. Ich kenne die Zeit Masses, du für Couples sich darauf stellen, what it means. So ja, jeder einzigste Mensch stellt mich auf den Gas und gibt mir ein Compliment. Genuinely bedankbar für ihm, so wissen, you made my day. Now, did it actually made my day, every single one? Most probably not. Aber zwei Sachen. aber zwei Sachen sind wichtig zu sagen. Eins, als der Mensch genommen der Gott zu kommen zu mir, mir geben ein Compliment. Das allein weiß, als der Mensch ist ein wohler Mensch. Der Mensch will etwas, meint es, ist dick. Verwusst der Selbst nicht zu viel dasselbe Gedief ist. Treibt, sag ich, treibt, dich machen geht viel. Shouldn't you be the same exact? But however, what I just said with the idea that nicht ich keine Meinung zu sagen pushen, ich bin ein busy Mensch. Ich habe hinter mir in geladen, ich habe mit alles zusammen, das sind 100 Menschen, die on a daily basis. Back and forth zwischen meine Vendors, zwischen meine Salespeople, zwischen meine Warehouse people, und zwischen the people that do the marketing, who's in the office, the babatum, the vendors, graphickers, people that work with social media, with the companies that I deal with, and I got to be with them. So, ich kann sagen, noch fahre ich mal eine Chance, für mich rauszusetzen, sagen auf dem Telefon 4 Stunden zu früh. Noch fahre ich eine Chance, für drink my coffee. Bin ich schon gewesen 4 Stunden auf dem Telefon, und durchgegangen, the information needs to be done. However, ich halte bei Emmes, als wenn ein Mensch sucht, ob es ein gut Wort, bedanken. Es ist value. It's a good feeling.
Ja, ich meine, als wenn ein Mensch sucht, ein gut Wort, wohl sich allein zu machen feeling good.
True.
No, I'm not saying in a selfish way. Meaning he's now feeling good that he saw me.
I mean,
he feels like it's his lucky day, and I'm here to compliment that. And I'm here to compliment that.
And so?
Ben ich neiserig.
Ja, nein, aber zoek aber der sucht ja, aber zoekt aber auch at der Mensch.
Wil niet maken feeling good. Is do for
will zich fine.
Wil zich maken feeling good. You know, if that's the case, let me help you with that. So I'll say back, hey.
Okay, so you say you want to do it to that person.
No, I'm saying I'm doubling down on what you're saying. I'm saying I'll go even further with making him feel good. He's here to feel good. Wow, getroffen Ellie Weber. Okay, so as me hello because he's feeling good right now. Wo ga ich zurückziehen? I'll usually ask a name oder von wie bist du, so that he continues to feel good.
That is amazing.
En ich feel auch gut von dem gerade.
That is good, but nein, ich bin ein Mensch. Ich schäme mich bei Emerson wie ein Mensch. Ich bin human.
Ja.
Und ich habe human needs. Human wants. Jeder Mensch hat lieb zu sein. Feeling accepted, understood.
Oh, meaning die kannst ihm geben, die acceptance.
If I can give to a person that compliment is mir gegeben, means everything to me. Regardless if it actually means everything to me or doesn't mean everything to me, the point that the Mensch hat genommen an effort, zieh von sich, zieh von mir, it doesn't actually matter what is the echte Sibbe, wo hat man das getan. Der Mensch gekommen, ich bin sicher, getracht an meine 2 Faden, muss ich sicher sei geschehen, soll ich nicht, soll ich wachen warten, soll ich mich ausdrehen. I'm sure you had that before, I'm certain.
How about you're the guy?
I'm the guy, die lachen von mir.
Video?
Das heißt, ich habe schon gehabt, ein Goy, ein Schwarzer Buch gestellt in Manhattan. Ich mache nicht keinen Joke. And it's, but I know you. You know me? Where do you know me? You have something with coffee? How in the world did that
got a lot of
person,
views.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And tell them, wow, I loved it. I get my ganze Kampel. Gaan we dan zeggen, wow, you just made my day. Did he make my day? I doubt it.
Right.
But he's a human being. He took
Right.
a time of him. Maybe you're right. Maybe some of them is more themselves. Doesn't mean much to me. But I'm still that human person that I would like to do. When let's say we're by Chasana. In de zeest a zinger. Liet zie. En if je zegt, stop, ik geef hem geen compliment. Laat ons de mijn stieg. Liet zie. Ja, na 2 weken kan drenfen. Ik kan drenfen na week van, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Or ik kan zo...
Yeah, makes a difference.
I think in a certain way, and I think that part of social life, having people that want to connect for whatever the reason is, not always it's going to work for you.
Right.
But if you can help a person, make him feel good.
Yeah.
I'll do it any day of the week. Times I'll sit, I can have needles in me. I really gotta go, I gotta jump. But if I see it makes that much of a difference to a person, I'll rather stuck it out, sit there and take because I can help that guy. I think it matters a lot. And I'll tell you one small story, and I'm sure you love that part. So I was in the middle of a meeting. It was a Zoom meeting. I was driving. It was actually from Lakewood back to Muncie. And I'm in a Zoom meeting. My phone rings. Okay, once. Not now. I send back a message. Please text me. No response. 2 minutes later, rings again. Same number. Again, please text me because I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting. I can't just be right now. 4 times. Okay, I said to my people, let me put you on pause for 2 minutes because it seems it's pretty urgent. Somebody keeps on calling me. I don't know what the story is. I have no idea. It's not a saved number. Okay. I pick up the phone and I say, listen, I'm in the middle of a meeting of Zoom. I see you called me 4 times. Obviously, it looks like it's pretty important. Right. Can I call you back in 15, 20 minutes once I'm done? Yeah, sure. Okay, no problem. I go back to the Zoom meeting. It doesn't go about 5, 10 minutes later. The phone rings again. Okay. So obviously, I'm human. Stop already. Like, what's going on? So as I'm there, I said to the people, okay, it was already going to the end of it. I said to the people, okay, you know what? I'm going to get off. Let me try to help this guy. I don't know what it is. Let me try to help the guy. So I called him back. And I said to him, okay, so what's the question? So his answer is, I asked him on test before I even called him. And he tells me it's not a question. I said, okay, give me a minute. Gave him a minute, 6 seconds later. I call him up. I say, hello, how are you? What can I help you with? So he tells me this. He tells me, my father has some serious mental issues. He's depressed, doesn't do anything in his life. It's not easy. But every time he listens to your videos with Freud Feather, with whatever it is, he just becomes alive. And I'm thinking to myself, wow. He called me in total of 5 times. Didn't make sense. I am stressed. I could get wild. I said, like, why does somebody make me crazy? Yeah. And maybe it's for him. Maybe it's for his father. I don't know who it was. It doesn't really matter what's the reason for it. That guy called me and explained to me something that he feels about me. Wow. That is the reason why I will always try to be curious to people. Very much respectful to people. Now, I'm loud, as you can see. I'm not the most quietest person. But I have an open house. Wow. I have guests coming to me on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I spoke to someone. I'm trying to remember. Actually, Yumi Sabak?
Yep, Yumi Sabak has been by me most probably 7, 8 times already. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah,
Yumi just down house, open house, Achusen, shout out.
Just got engaged. Yumi. Yes, Yumi, Mazel Tov.
Yeah. So I know it's true.
So there you go. So yeah, Yumi, Mati, Breyer, Chesky Rosenberg. I don't know if you know the whole crew.
Yeah, okay.
So that crew. Yep.
Very nice. Als gehad met een story by the way, because you were saying you were driving and the garage called.
So the story was basically the idea that person wanted to let me know I'm doing a video to advertise my product. Okay, yeah, that's the reason I did the video with Freud Feather. Right, that's what I did it for. So I did a video for myself, and at the same time I helped the person from depression to feel good for just 3 minutes, 5 minutes, as long as the video is. I made him feel better.
Ja. Oh, nou, die is ungefähr verzahlig. Die gab es ist ungefähr verzahlig story. Und so einer der herangecallt. Und ich hatte gefragt, Tamer, die hype-stoff von jedem. And then you started saying the story.
So that was the story where somebody called me so many times that I can get nervous about. Yeah, it's nice. But at the end of the day, you feel like it's wow. And that only proves to me that if somebody wants something from you, now that doesn't mean you have to be a junkie and anybody that calls you any single time, you got to be available 24 hours a day. Right. That's not going to be the case. And if somebody calls you after 9 o'clock p.m. or before 9 o'clock a.m., then he's most probably, like you say, there's always going to be an abusive personality, and you don't have to jump with every single abusive personality. But that's the concept.
Okay, so Laser, I want to get into how you started this, but let me have a kleine commercial break.
Okay.
En reden van een van de products doen.
So,
En ich hatte gebeten zu bringen products
Correct.
because die bist es masber mit der Saftigkeit and people love food. Man hat lieb trinken, essen, whatever it is.
so it's
Bring
not,
mich etwas
so it's
Achiddisch.
not necessarily the food part that I want to so much focus on, or rather where we're going to go into a conversation about how I got to where I am today and the
Okay.
company and the history. So based on that, I can just first
Wanneer we
explain
reden van dat.
behind.
Okay,
No,
so-
we can talk about this because this is going to basically take us in to what I want to get to
Right.
with the idea of the line of business.
Okay.
So let me just tell you, one company here that we talked about is a company Meister Beverages. It's called Meister. What they're trying to do is bring into the kosher market with a very good supervision every type of drink that is out in the market, but kosher and if possible more healthier than what's in the market today.
The company is
Meister.
Meister.
It's called Meister. They are the first company that came out with kosher vitamin Wasser, which is kosher vitamin water.
Okay.
That's the first item. That is called Vita Wasser, which is good
Okay.
vitamin water.
Hydro Slim as well.
Hydroslim just came out about 2 months ago, which is until now, if you wanted like before a tunas,
Yeah.
you wanted a electrolytes drink.
Electrolytes, yeah.
It's hot summer. You go to camp. You want to drink something. People know about Gatorade. Gatorade is electrolyte drink, but Gatorade has tons of sugar, tons of color, and tons of other things. So he came out with a Gatorade. This is a hydration drink. This is made out of coconut water and sea salt that a lot of people are buying before a tunas. You ever saw these expensive drinks before a tunas?
Yeah.
Very similar to this is. This has no added sugar.
Schakel nemen erbij.
Oh my. And it has no coloring. So you're not going to feel this overly sweet drink. But it's the first company that makes a kosher Gatorade. That is the Hydroslim. The next item is, I wouldn't say it's the first one that came out kosher, but is he came out with an energy drink. The good I'm actually going to say this. Regular, this is sugar-free, and then we have the regular.
Jetzt, energy drink, this wil ik vragen, is
Yeah.
actually healthy? Because
No.
I understood that it's sugar.
Absolutely not healthy.
Okay, so what was the rest of the thing?
Because this company is not necessarily,
Okay,
I said
but
it's a
healthy, it's
beverage
kosher.
company. However, on this one, he made it specially healthier, by the way, for different reasons. When he works on this product, I know for 3 years. He heard that there are other big companies, since he started working on it, that someone else will come out with the same product. So instead of being stuck with the idea and come out at the same time, and then he was afraid what's going to happen, he said, let me do differently. He started figuring out with the companies, what are you trying to come out with? They told him what they want to come out with. So he made a switch. The switch that he made is that he wanted to do one without color, without sugar, because if the other company comes out with it, that will have sugar and color. That doesn't make it wrong, because as I showed you earlier, this has also sugar and stuff.
Right.
So my point I'm trying to say with the sugar idea is, if he has something unique, something special, okay, now you know what that is. But he is not specifically a healthy type of company, although he has a lot of healthy products. Another item I can show you.
Dit zijn nog altijd gel, zeg.
Dat is wat ik gezocht. Deze guy, halbe minuut, kan je deze opnemen van de vinger, ongewoon. Kijk, er is gebleven hard met een week. Hij heeft de hand.
Ja.
Juist?
Ja.
Cold gel.
Ah, ze komt erop, ja.
Dat is het, kijk. Hij vullen de schmits met een fingerprints gaat er ook in de vent.
Deze hele niet met mijn goal schnitzelen.
Lili, is het een goed ben?
Shalom ziesje.
We zullen hem zien.
Dat Anna get beter. Oké, dit is takke gel.
That's exactly what this is. The next zaak is, is wat ik wel wazen, is ze doen de Goyische market, I think it's a multi-million-dollar market, it's called Celsius,
Ja, ze zagen het.
which is an energy soda. It's a light
500
energy,
grams
a lot of
caffeine.
vitamins, and it's not an energy drink that is full of junk, rather it has a lot of real good vitamins on any of them.
Ja, maar ook het aan een amount voor caffeine.
No.
Deze had zero caffeine?
No, I don't think so. I don't say any caffeine, to be honest. Let me see if it puts in any caffeine just for you. Look at the ingredients.
It probably has caffeine. Celsius had zeker caffeine.
This does not have caffeine. Maybe
Caffeine
natural
from
caffeine.
green tea leaves. Okay.
You see it?
Yeah, caffeine from green tea leaves. But they say
Is it more healthier?
green tea is healthy. Yeah.
Look, 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 everything, besides 100%, over 100% of
So it barely carbs, I feel.
vitamin, nothing, it's no carbs. Zero carbs.
2 grams, yeah.
Oh, you talked about the calories. Okay, yeah. Carbs has 1 gram. See, this one is 1.
Maand 2.
Okay, so I guess it's a little bit more sweeter. This one has 1.
Yeah.
This one has 1. So you've, 3 gram, 1%. That's
Okay,
what.
dan moet deze en deze.
That
the
is the
beverage
soda.
companies, als dat geschmiss, is the beste business, right? Zeg beter via food product, also heerlijk. Like it sells for the most.
It's
a successful beverage company sells for 100% or something.
But I think there's less money to be made in a beverage than to make in a good piece of food that people know what it is, because you can ask for more money. How more expensive can you ask for a drink?
Ik weet dat de succes van een beverage, de value van een beverage is zachtgekker.
Could be. Hoe gaat worden in Oranje met de gooi, maar ze hakken niet meer.
Kom maar. This is eigenlijk het.
But the reason why I'm trying to bring out the concept is the difference between bigger companies and smaller companies. There are two people in the company, there are two partners. Someone is learning half a day, and the other one takes care of the other way.
De Meister.
Van de Meister zit te leren de halve dag, and the other partner is doing with other parts of it, and all they do is they open a beverage company.
Noor van Jeden, oder ze zeggen zich jalla maas aan zich gespeeld ze Walmart Shoprite.
Because he wants to give, he knows how many Gatorades are being sold.
Die houdt ze kent takken aan best of your Goische company?
Some of the items, absolutely. Forget about Goische companies. Let me know first.
Dus ik ga morgen to Celsius en ik leg erover bij dat of them.
You can try to get it. I don't think Celsius will even talk to you, but you can try. Because they don't.
Jake Paul, ik ben friends.
And my point to you is that these big companies, to get to them.
Ik heb zich gevraagd, wat is een business model? Morgen had
waarom
worden hot na OU? Morgen had CRC.
When we spoke about this, like at with the company, he wanted a regular Gatorade. Exactly the same. Should be colorful, should be good looking, should be sweet.
Okay.
Then he maneuvered, because this works for him. What works for him? He comes up with ideas that as of right now, it hasn't been in the market, and he wants to be the one that provides it to the kosher clientele.
Wow.
That's what he wants to do. That's his goal.
Kosher lemahadran, obviously.
Absolutely. Everything.
Because they all drink Zen and OU.
Everything. And I can tell you they put in a lot of work. And the reason I'm saying all these things is, and it sounds like I'm advising the company, I just want to bring out a point that it's important for us and for the listeners to understand. The reason I'm saying these things is, I know the years that these two people have been busy thinking about what could be done, how can I solve a problem, what can I do in the market. And I'm saying it specifically because I know the work that's been put in, and I dealt with them, that it means a lot. They put in so much effort. They're not a big company. They started out by 4 products to 10 to 15, and now they have over 20 products altogether. You know the product, which actually we don't have here. You know what 5-hour energy is? So that 5-hour energy lemon, so I drank it schweers by nacht. Mach ich kein joke. I walked down to over an hour. We walked to a sheer schweers by nacht, to Wyra Jacobson. Ich ga jede Jahr sehen. Der walk is a schuwalk. Ahin, a schuw zurück.
Okay.
So, ich gegessen de Sieder, schweers bei Nacht, fahr de Fleisch, beginnen wir nach Break. Ich war rübergewalkt zu Fishy. Ich bin umgekommen dort, und ich bin mit Quader noch 1, ich hielt noch 1 als Eiger. I said, bis Quader noch 3. Quader went back, I came home, was about 4:15. We ate the fleisch, and then we went to sleep after the loss.
We, mein, die ganze Family noch
Die ganze Family. Nicht, so, die Gäste, ich bin bei mir, sind mitgekommen, mein Vater mitgekommen mit mir. Kinder haben gesagt, dass wir können schlafen, sind gegangen schlafen.
Jeder gemacht der Wak von der Schuh.
Wenn sie willen, wenn nicht, ich habe keinem nicht gepusht. That was a conversation that we had on Shvias, that we enjoyed those shirim.
Very nice.
We really want to go, and we went, we did it.
Yeah, but why is good.
But my main point why we bought these items is, you would know how many hours, days, and weeks, and months this guy has put in to make the product. It's irrelevant if I love the product or I don't love the product, although I think he makes a solid product. I've tasted all of them and the competitions and stuff. I think he has something really good overall. But my main idea is the passion that when he talks about his products, the effort that he puts in that his product should be the way it is. The labeling, you would see how many shapes he made of this before he came with this logo, just to show people that when somebody has a product, I call it their baby. Yeah. They work with their product. When they work with their product, they are willing to do whatever it takes. Sometimes these people will give you a much better quality product because they put in the ganze passion into their product. Rather, even a company, guys a co-packer, pak maar op miljoen van dem, like it off my label. They actually do something different. They did not take a different company, put into their bottles, and a stick it.
Yeah, this is so far my favorite.
Okay, because this is a little bit more to the sweeter side. Depends, what is it that you want?
Yeah, this is ook lieb.
Makes a lot of sense.
No, the andere is like, Ist gut. Ich bin nicht
Again,
into
you have to understand what you want. Do you drink Gatorade at all?
Nein, ich trinke nicht
So
gar nicht von
then
das.
automatically you won't be able to understand the difference. If you're
Correct.
going to compare this, you can compare this only to energy drinks. You want to compare this, you can compare this to Celsius, but only the sugar-free Celsius. Otherwise, you're not really comparing it apples to apples. Then you're comparing it apples to oranges. But my main point is, most of the companies that I deal with, they have a product because usually it was born at home. Like to playing around with certain things. Somebody's making a good product and the schwager, the breeder, the cousins look them. Wow, this is amazing. How about you make it for me as well? And from there, how about you make it for the local store? And then it goes, and then, oh, maybe I can bring in, okay, let me call this laser on, let me speak to them, maybe we can do something. And then all of a sudden it starts going. And now I can tell you staples that everyone knows about, that I was the one who pulled out the first box from that person's kitchen.
Wow.
No jokes.
Wow.
To get it on the shelf.
Right.
You ever heard of the company Baker's Choice?
Yeah.
I was the one who delivered the first piece.
Wow.
Devash. I was the first one to deliver the first piece. Now, there's a lot of things into distributing and sales and details, and we learn, like you said, I think, what's his name? Burich. You had him, the salesperson. A lot of things you guys discussed there is very interesting. He's a smart boy. 22 years old.
400 clients, hello? I
could have been his father.
Yeah.
You would not believe it, but yes.
Wow.
I already have an Einigel.
Oh, wow.
Just so you know.
Wow.
So.
One last question before we start with your story,
Sure.
in detail, is how do you sell this? Meaning, die bist so passionate wegen, sie geht darauf auf den Shelf, what next? The Frau Fader video and boom, people buy it in all the stores. How... En nog gezegd, het is eigenlijk gezegd. Dus ook sta ik op dan grocery had het nog een shop. Die wil deze, call me and this. So how do you make sure als mensen walken iets aan een grocery and they take this product again?
So let me be very clear. There is for sure items that for whatever the reason is, because I cannot click with that product, I will sell the product. But because let's give you an example. I hate olives with a passion. I tell you stories about it. I just can't handle it. Not the smell, not the taste.
Yeah.
So I will never make a video on olives. Even though it's a product that I sell, and I know it's quality, and I could most probably come up with quality. If I do a video on a product, I see something. Either I see the passion of that person, and I know that, okay, this, if not this, there's something else coming tomorrow. That person has a mind of its own. No. He's really into his product. Or if I see a product that actually solves a problem, I'll do a video about it. Right. I'll give you an example. I made with Froim the video on the cereals. Yeah. I made first one video with Perlowit, just overall as a company video on the items. Then I specifically went with Froim and I did another video on a particular cereal, which was the not Fiber One, it's called by us, it's called Brand Sticks, because Fiber One is trademarked. Couldn't do it with their name, so we did it with the idea of Fiber. Why did I do that video? Okay. Because people ask questions, and I always listen to the messages coming from Froim, from Chaim, and from these old people, and the same thing will be with you. You have comments, let me know. I'm here to try to explain as much as I possibly can. This is what I'm trying to do. So I went with him because people didn't, first of all, the name did not click. Fiber One, this is called Brand Sticks, they wasn't sure. Then I get from some people that the Fiber One looks much more appetite, like it's better, the color is better and different. So that's when I explained the video that I did with Froim for that exact reason. And Froim asked me that question. I think that's why I did actually a live promo, people to see the differences. And I showed it on the box. You look at Fiber One, you look at the ingredients. There's about 5 ingredients that you would know what it is. You would never, ever take it into your mouth. And Fiber One is a healthy product. Yeah. People pay $9, $10, eat OU Star K, but they don't eat Yoshan. Hello? You don't eat Yoshan and you eat Fiber One? How? Wow. You eat healthy, but you take in some starches and stuff that you will never allow your body if you know what that is, and you think that is healthy.
So how do companies get away with it? How does a company like Coca-Cola exist when we know that drink is really simply unhealthy?
It is unhealthy, and the reason they go away because it's good.
40 grams of sugar.
Because it's good. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think Fiber One is
making
making
it makes me think the world is a fake.
It is.
If 90% of the foods are just pure garbage, and we know what bad foods does for a person.
I don't think people
you seem
know
health conscious and you
a
look
bit.
healthy.
Yes, I lost. I have been bigger in my years. I'll show it to you later. But
okay. No, you get what I'm saying. Like how Are most people just really not conscious? And McKenzie
No.
gave wus me and they
I
eat
told you
it?
earlier about subconscious and conscious. You
Yeah.
can put that into that boat.
Now,
People
do you
don't
have that
really
doggish-
understand. They don't even know. When they see fiber one, beautiful, healthy, start your day, 9 vitamins, whatever, whatever, they know they have paid millions of dollars to make that scratch in your head that this is the healthy cereal, when in fact,
It's not.
It's far from it.
Right.
Now, the reality is, and that's good to know, people don't know these details. It might change now because RFK came in, although he's a crazy guy, but he is now the health, whatever he is.
Right.
In Europe, they have a lot more harsh rules what you're allowed to give to your kids or what you're allowed to sell as a candy even. A candy that you get from Europe and a candy you get from America, the candy from Europe is going to be at least 30% less junk than American candies.
Oh, wow.
That is the reason why the morning cheer cereal that we spoke about is WIC approved, even the sweet cereals. Never before was such a thing. The only thing that was ever WIC approved in New York and New Jersey were the fiber one, were the cornflakes, Crisp Rice, and regular Cheerios. That's it. The cereals from Morning Cheese, even the Honey Nut Cheerios, even the Honey Nut Cornflakes, the chocolate cornflakes, the chocolate balls, sweet cereals is WIC approved. Because in America, they allow you to put in, I think, 12 grams of sugar, whatever that is. But being mine is from Europe, the maximum they allow you to do is 9. So 9 grams sugar in a box of cereal against 12 grams of sugar. 12 is already over the 11 threshold. So the 9 is approved and the 12 is not.
Wow.
So a person that really wants to eat healthy, and you have an option, that's why you're here. So this is now I'm solving a problem. I'm giving it to you. But fiber one looks much nicer. I agree. I can make mine nicer too. But how do you think they make it nicer? There's a process. Mm-hmm. You'll find out the process they do is very unhealthy, where this process not. So yeah, the color is not. Color is blinding. Wow. You know colors can buy off anyone if you know how to do it. Yeah. That's what marketing is all about.
Right. So. Laser, laat me heren dan story. It's all fascinating wat me do. It's echt interessant. I'll tell you why I know it's interessant. Because ik heb uitgeheerd a podcast met Yossi Brach.
Okay.
And it's so interessant geweest to hear about Jewish kosher foods. En redt ook dat we de man sprak een beetje van maar redt ook dat food in deze. And it was just very interesting. And I said, you know what? Laat me deze geven van de oilem. Like, de oilem wil zich heren met food. Wanneer je de laatste maand gemaakt dat food podcast? Like, I feel like mag dat gidders doen. So I would love to hear your story. Wie is die ongehouden?
So long as silent, so this is a bit longer the story. But I think it's pretty fascinating overall how it started. So obviously we're not just doing business.
Yeah.
I started working in this company was September of 2005.
Als toen we een Beverage Company.
Meister at that time, it was called Nyman Wholesale.
Wow, you came a long way.
A long way.
Wow.
I'll tell you even more than that. I have done in this business every single job that someone can only have.
Was this your first job, by the way? Like others?
No, I did small, tiny jobs. I started out my career after I got married. I did fencing.
Okay.
It was fencing first and then air conditioning first season. So it was fencing, air conditioning. I think this was the two I did for less than a year.
Okay.
As it wasn't the thing that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And my main reason why I didn't enjoy the air conditioning thing, although they were all good people, is I felt I can do anything. I put my mind to it, but I need to understand what I'm doing. I can just not be a person where, do it because I told you to.
Yeah.
I can't. In the construction, the way it goes is you come in, you know, right? You come in, you don't know anything. You have a manager who tells you do this. If you start asking questions, so why do I do it this way?
Right.
I had an example. I did a job once, whatever that was. And he tells me, shows me, and I do it. The manager's not there for most of the day. It's after 5 hours, non-stop work. After 5 hours of non-stop work, I'm done. He comes in.
Zit maar onder de light do.
That's not from here. That's most from the inside of the room.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So,
He comes in.
After 4 or 5 hours, working alone, I did it by myself. He tells me, "Oh, I don't like it this way. Turn it the other way around." So basically, I had to open the whole thing that I worked for 4 or 5 hours and just change it a different way. Now, I didn't mind. You're my manager. You tell me to do it. I listen. I do. But when I asked him, "But why? Why did you tell me first to do it this way, and now you're telling me this way? You're not here when I do it. When if you would have told me 3 hours ago, I could have said, I feel like my work doesn't really do." He felt that I'm challenging his authority. I said, I'm not challenging not your authority. I really want to understand. So the next time around, I can make that choice, even if you're not here, knowing this is the right way and this is the wrong way. But he didn't feel that way. So I said, listen, if this is the situation, I'm going to find something else. Then I went out to work for a fencing company, but that fencing company was a different story. It was interesting how it went all along. It's a different story maybe for another day.
Yeah.
So that was basically the first 2 years. Then that year, September, from the fencing is when I
joined this company.
I joined this company.
You knew that die bist afuri, die
Nope.
bist getting sales.
I did not become a salesperson at all. This is one of the things I want to tell you about.
Okay.
That you spoke with Burak later down the situation. No, when I came in, I was actually a truck driver. Wow. I drove to deliver. This company was a small, tiny company. It's called Neiman Wholesale. The boss of the company's name was Chaim Alter Neiman. He died about 1.5 years ago. So now his kid is in the business. Mm-hmm. A doll of a person that you'll ever find in your life. Mm-hmm. Legit. Mm-hmm. There are not very few. There are very few people
like him. Okay.
Like him. Anyway, I came in there. So basically, how the business was at that time, we did half shipping, like pickup and deliveries, and then we did a little bit of food. At that time, when I came in 2005, we started out a little bit. He used to have a truck. He used to pedal off his truck. At that time, all these items were not on the shelf. There was no such thing as cocoa with sprinkles in our store. So he used to go into a store, he put in literally 2 pieces. Yeah. 2 pieces chocolate sprinkles, 2 pieces colored sprinkles. For those who want to start, at that time, it wasn't normal to find these things in the kosher market. It was new. It was new concepts and new ideas. We had tuna, he had some coffee, he had some Klein's Naturals. He had a lot of different things. But at a certain point before I came in, he made that choice that he can't do everywhere. He's a small, tiny person. He's going to more or less go to Monsey Monroe. Monsey mainly, Monroe a little bit. That was his concept. So when I came in, and then obviously we did pickups and shipping and deliveries. So we had Svurim. All the Svurim and alle Svurim stores in Monsey Monroe used to send me, go pick up by this company boxes, by this company boxes, by that. And I used to go around with a van, and I used to pick up all the stuff from these stores. I used to go to the stores in Monsey Monroe and deliver it to them that day. So I picked up and delivered. And I had some other private deliveries. People were coming, people were going. That was going for a few years. And then on Wednesday, he used to go do the sales all week. When I was doing the pickups and deliveries, he used to do the sales in Monsey Monroe. And then on Wednesday, one day a week, I used to go deliver it. 5 boxes there, 10 boxes there. That was basically what I did. I think it was in 2009. I think it was 2008 or 2010. I don't remember when it was exactly. When, I think it was my brother that got me the job, if I remember well, originally. Yeah. And he asked me a question. He asked, would you mind, that Monsey, okay, your boss lives in Monsey, he does the sales and you do everything. Would you mind on Sunday before you drive in, you would go to some stores in Monroe where you live. I lived in Monroe at the time. Okay. And you would try to do some sales. Extra, you get a bonus, you get your paycheck, whatever that is. You get another 2%. Yeah. What is there to lose? Right. Amazing stuff. I said, listen, I never did sales in my life, but I don't mind. Yeah. No, I have to go. I'll try. We'll see what happens. That's where my sales career started. Wow. I went into Monroe, started to going into items, trying my luck. It took about 1 year to 2 when my boss says, I don't know what to tell you, but your sales in Monroe has beaten me by any measurement I can only give you. Uh-huh. Would you mind also taking over the sales in Monsey? Wow. This is what he told me. And I said to him, if this is what you want, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Right. I'll work on it. But I've explained it to them at that time how the shipping thing is good, meanwhile. However, there's also another story with the shipping thing. I used to do shipping, I told you earlier, for the swim stores. Mm-hmm. So there was somebody that used to live in Bar Park, and he used to work in Monsey as a malamed, a magachir, wherever it was. So one day he said, I go every day anyway. So he went to the local bookstores. I used to charge, I remember, $5 a box to deliver a box. Mm-hmm. Pick up and delivery, $5. He came and said, listen, I got to go to Monsey anyway. Local, you deliver. How about, he called up a store in Monsey, and he asked him, listen, how much do you pay for a box delivery? He says, $5. So he says, how about they deliver it for free to my house, to my porch, and then the next morning, I'll bring it with me when I come to Monsey anyway. Pay me only $3. Is that a deal? Yeah. And that store made a calculation. At the end of the year, you're talking about a nice few thousand boxes, $2 a box. Yeah. I mean, it could be $10,000, $20,000 easy. Yeah. So it didn't even bother me at a certain point. It just bothered that deal. I am here for business. I do pick up there for business. That person just as a by the way. Yeah. It's like anybody coming in, like Tom Shabbos coming in front of Evergreen Anybody that walks in, so what are you going to buy? Okay, here you go. No, I mean, you want to be Tom Shabbos?
Yeah.
Find out who needs it. Send it quiet.
Right.
Don't go in front of a shoe store and say, oh, I don't have shoes. Let me give you shoes. Yeah. Don't do it in front of that store.
Exactly.
That is the concept that I felt. But it's just an aside idea I'm ready in. So that's when I started.
Head of sales.
That's not a guy head of sales. That's when I started doing alone sales. I was the only salesperson. I did Muncie and Monroe. Yeah. And then I think it was 2012 when I took over the complete sales department. And after, I don't remember the exact timings, a year, 2, 3, I hired it's a little bit later down the road. I did the sales myself for most probably good 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. And then I hired my first salesperson to help me, being that I can't. Why? Is because I wanted somebody to take over Muncie Monroe, which I have worked hard to establish my sales and learn on it. And I learned a lot, and I can tell you stories, pretty interesting stories. But once I hired him, I could go to Williamsburg, and then to Borough Park, and then to Queens, and to Five Towns, Muncie Monroe, the Catskills, and slowly, we have been expanding, and right now we are a team of 10 salespeople.
Wow,
going everywhere.
Wow. Okay, so and yet bist du aber involved maybe just sales, no? It sounds like you're involved
now
in the production of the products.
So not necessarily the production itself, where I deal with the companies direct. So when they need advice on something, on a product, on a label, to decide, I deal with all my vendors, because what I try to give for my vendors is something they'll never be able to get anywhere else. When you are by a big company, it doesn't matter who the big company is. You're just a number. You're one between thousands and thousands of products. If they're going to be busy with you all day, every day, for every little thing that you have, they can't do it. That's not the way the setup of the big companies is. The reality is, when a person comes up with a product, puts in a lot of effort in a product, sometimes he just wants to cry. Mm-hmm. He has a bad day. Sometimes he wants to... Ich kann nicht mal so, was kann all sein, little tiny things, issues, there's nothing to do with you, but they need a listening ear.
Right. So
I give it to them.
Right. So when I rausgebe my product, I basically have to go through a distribution company, correct? Ich kann nicht gehen zu a grocery and sagen, hey, man.
You can.
Are they even going to listen to me? Maybe.
Maybe.
Just like in the front for free.
Maybe if he likes you, he might do you the favor, but he asked me if you're going to be able to succeed that way, you won't. Because how many groceries can you cover and also produce the product and also build the product, get your money, get your products on the shelf, and make sure it's staying nice.
You produce the product?
I don't produce. I'm talking about if you have a product. You're asking me if you make a product.
Let's say I do produce it. Distribution can I get in
What do you mean? Who produces the product? Also you.
Yeah.
So when are you going to produce it? When will you sell it? When will you pick up your money? When will you make sure it's on the shelf? When will you be in Williamsburg? When in Borough Park? When in Flatbush? When in Cronites? When in Lakewood? When in Tom's River? When in Deal? When in Muncie? When in Monroe? When in the Catskills? Right. When in Florida? When in California?
Right. So just
start talking.
So that's why you deal with a distribution company.
So that's why I do the part of distributing. So they have to be busy with producing products, coming up with products, like you see all these different products. Yeah. And then I come in. I'll give you another example, right? There's so many different products, but just to give you an idea. There's a company, Melman Mayonnaise. Okay. First of all, the reason why I like about it is because when he came to me first, and if you get to meet anyone, I don't know if you know who it is, doesn't matter, but when you would ask him the question, what I asked him when he came to me twice, I said, please, no. I have mayonnaise, I have the company Balabusta that has different unique products with the check beans, another thing we can go into later if you want, but they have already mayonnaise. So I wasn't interested in mayonnaise, but this guy kept on calling me. I heard crazy regards on you, I need you. I said, I hear you, but I can't. So he kept on nudging me.
Why did he want you? Because he wanted you to put you into the stores?
Because the effort that I put in. Or
because you bring sales?
I bring sales. And the way I take a product...
How do you bring sales? Just because of the video? Or you also...
Videos is just part of what I do.
You bring the sales because you talk to the groceries. You tell them take it in and you convince them why to take it.
Talk to people. I have no issue stopping anyone at a grocer and asking them... No, ask them to try it. I always say to people, I will ask you only once to try my product. If it's the second time around, I will not ask you again to buy it. You know why? Because I have no interest in you buying a product that is not made for you. Right. What I do want is that if you give it a try, if you see a product that piques your interest, don't hesitate. Yeah. Try it out. You'll find that if you don't like it, you like something else, go for it.
Okay, so he kept on calling.
He came to me 3-4 times, called me a lot of times, and I said, no. Mm-hmm. About the 5th time, whatever it was, I said to him, he kept on, when the people, I'll tell you stories about sales, you understand where I know it, so if somebody doesn't stop, okay. I told him the next time I met him, he said, you know what, the next time I see you, bring me a sample. Let me at least try, but do me a favor, please bring it with crackers because I can't eat them plain mayo. He came up to wherever the meeting was, he brings me this pack of mayo, a pack of Melba toast, brings it up, and the first thing I take a piece of Melba toast and I put on some mayo, and I bite into it just to feel the difference. For the first bite, it took me a second, then all of a sudden, this is different. This is not the same of the other ones. Right. So then I took away the cracker, just took a spoon, filled it up with mayo, and started licking it to feel if there's something, what's different. Yeah. Guess what? Regular mayo, commercial mayo, is a heavy-duty mayo, just like this one, but the taste is more vinegary. You ever ate mayonnaise in your life? You know what I'm talking about, the vinegary part of mayo?
I'm not very into it, okay.
No, but I'm sure you use it in tuna. You would know that it's more like, it has like a vinegary aftertaste. Okay. You ever had Heimische mayo ever in your life? No. Never. Okay, I did. So people who know the difference between commercial and homemade mayo, homemade, you make more, usually paisig, a lot of people do it, even people that don't do it all year. Mayo is more lemony, less vinegary, more lemony. More like a homemade texture, taste concept. And I felt the difference. Then it clicked. Okay, there is mayo, and then there is mayo. Right. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to try. And I gave it to people to taste. Before the item came out, I had a big bucket that he sent me. I took containers. I put in like a few spoons of small, these 4-ounce containers, closed it down, took it in my car. I started calling up my people, friends. Yeah. Would you be willing to try a mayonnaise for Shabbos? I want to give you a try. I want to hear your feedback, your honest feedback. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did not get one complaint. Yeah. Everyone said,
so he
wow,
produced the product. Once you decided that you'll take him in, he produced the packaging and
all?
He produces
everything. He ships it to me, I buy, and I sell.
And before that, he had to do it himself, I guess.
Correct.
Go to the groceries,
which is almost impossible, which you can do it locally in a few stores, but you're never going to be able to scale it.
Is there other distribution companies?
Of course there is.
Okay. Do you make a percent on every product that you sell?
I buy and I sell. Yes, of course you make a percent. But it's I buy and sell. If I buy it for $1, I will sell it for $1.35.
So a distribution company adds
approximately
30%?
Some put more, some put a few items could be less. Let's say
then the grocery adds another 30%.
That's correct. But that's how it goes. That's very normal. The question is if you go overboard. Obviously, they are. And I'll tell you even more. There are companies who put no issue putting up 60, 80% markups because they can. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit of a chutzpah.
That's domination.
That is domination. Now, sometimes everybody does whatever they do. It's fine. But where do I know that is the case? When you see a product, from all the products that I've already distributed in the market, when you see that product and you see one price for years, and then all of a sudden, there's a competition coming with that same product with $3 cheaper. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, everybody's coming down. Yeah. If the price to come down, where you made the line to come down, is good enough for you to make profit, then why did you charge me for the last 3 years that price? Oh, because you can. Okay. Now, does the customer know that? Right. So to continue this conversation in a story, because sometimes a story tells the story. Yeah. I was in Evergreen in Muncie, New York. I'm constantly in the grocers because that's what I do. I go to this salesperson, this grocer, working with him, doing whatever I possibly can to help my situation. And as I'm in the aisle 3 there where the mayonnaise, aisle 2 where the mayonnaise is, I see a young man comes in. He's on the phone, on his Bluetooth, whatever it is, the Apple Pods. And he walks right by me and he takes one of the brand names of the mayonnaise. And I stop him because sales, what did he say last time around? It's not always comfortable. Yeah. You do what you got to do. And I asked him, I just want to understand. I just saw you walk by me. You took this item without looking, without thinking. Would you mind trying a different mayonnaise? And he says, no. What do you want? So I showed him. At that time, it was the Balabusta mayo. It wasn't even this one. It was Balabusta mayo at the time. And I showed it to him. I said, listen, it's a new company. I'm trying to push it a little bit. Would you mind trying it? And if you like it, you like it. If I meet you again and you didn't like it, I promise you I will not ask you to buy it again. Yeah, sure. He takes it. He runs. A few weeks later, I'm in the same aisle, and the same guy comes by again, takes one of the brand names, and walks. At that moment, I went and I stopped him. I said, I'm not stopping you to change your mind again. Yeah. But I would love to know. Yeah. When last time I told you about this new mayonnaise and
said
you
no,
sounded
yeah.
very happy, you took it. How was it? Was it good? Was it bad? You liked better the other one, and that's why you went back? And he tells me, I'll be honest with you. No, it was actually very, very good. It was delicious. I loved it. Then, if I may ask, why back to that? So I said, because when I came in here last time, I looked at the prices. When you spoke to me, you thought that you're telling me something because of a product. I looked at prices. And I saw that yours is $3.99. The others were $6.99. I said, wow, that's why I took yours. That's what he told me.
Okay.
So I said to him, and now what is it? I see that the other company came down with the price. Now it's $5.99. I said, okay, but mine is still $3.99, and you liked it. For $2, I'll rather take the brand name. This is what he told me, which is something people always ask me. Think about it for a moment. I want you to think for a second what I'm trying to explain to you here.
Yeah.
A person took something we talked about earlier about subconscious. Conscious and subconscious. You don't even understand. So as long as it was $6.99, you felt that that was a better idea. Once it came down to $5.99, you made a choice that for $5.99, you're going to take the brand name.
Yeah.
Let's say you're right. That's the way to go. Let me ask you a question. So there is a small company that is charging $3.99 because he wants to come into the market. He's doing everything he possibly can to talk to the people. I can save you some money. Buy me. If you like it, why not? You can save some money. You know, mayonnaise go a lot in Jewish houses. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure the average house goes at 1, 2, 3 bottles mayonnaise a week. You could save, $2, $4, $6, $8, $10 a week. At the end of the year, you're going to look, it's $600. Just one item, just proving a point.
Yeah.
Then, when they came down from $6.99 to $5.99, and what is the reason they came down?
Because of the competition.
Because there's competition. You make a choice that for $2 more, you're willing to do the brand name. What do you think is going to happen to this small-minded company that went to $3.99? After the customer who could save $2 said that for $2, he's going to take the brand name. Now, if the product itself is better, then I'm all for it. I always say, I have no issue with any brand, any company at any time.
But
if you like
yourself,
the product,
right,
buy it. But if the product is no different, it's just the brand name in a food product, which a lot of these products are being made by the same factory, same company. Like somebody tells me, oh, I don't buy Geffen, I buy Glicks. As an example. They're both the same company. So my point I'm trying to just, in the idea is, people need to make conscious decisions, not subconscious decisions.
Yeah.
Conscious decision means think, help yourself. So what's going to happen with this small company? They're going to get out of business. And what do you think is going to happen a day after? One day after that company closed down, what do you think the prices of mayonnaise will be?
$6.99.
Who is going to suffer?
The person. So technically, you are here up against the big companies.
No, I'm not.
Like, what's your mission?
My mission is
your
to make
mission
awareness.
Right now, I feel like you are representing the new companies, the new ideas, the little guy.
Correct. Yet
You
now
are
you said
representing
it.
him
I'm
in the grocery.
representing anyone which is an underdog.
Yeah.
The little guy. The guy that needs that pep talk. The guy that deserves, either because he has
Deserves a chance.
Actually a better product, because doing things the small way is much more quality control than these big, huge companies.
He's fighting to come in.
And I can prove it to you on tastes, on textures, on different types of product that a lot of companies try doing, big and small. The smaller one is by far a superior product, a quality, superior, delicious product, which the big guys can't make it. It's just impossible. You gotta have that passion for your product that you're really good at.
Yeah.
You look at any product in the market, big and small, you'll always recognize that the smaller companies put in more passion into their particular products than the big guys. Right. And that is the point I always say. So you ask me what I try to do is exactly that. I'm giving a voice to the underdog. Those people that people would not know about them by me doing what I do, like you said, right? Paper advertising is the way to go. But they don't even have the money to put it into paper advertising. So what I will try to do at that time is do what I do. The idea of speaking to you, speaking to Freud, speaking to Chaim, speaking to Ari, speaking to all these people, is for I have a busy schedule from day to night. The reason I choose to do it, I feel your listeners deserve to know
the truth,
what power they have. I sit in Meister Beverages. I know how much Ingalat are struggling and suffering financially, and I'm sure you know of plenty of stories for yourself.
Yeah.
You could save on a grocery order $50. I'm talking about a family. Normally, I'm talking about if you buy a $400 or $500 order every week. I'm talking about normal families, 4 or 5 kids. I'm talking about a normal family for Shabbos order. You could save $30, $40, $50, $60 a week.
Yeah.
Now take the calculation, $50 a week. That's $5,000 a year.
Right.
And it's a full-fledged vacation for you and your wife. Why? Because you think you have to, or you don't think. Subconsciously, whatever they wanted you to know, you know. So I try to use your platform for your listeners, Florian's platform for his listeners, and so on and so forth, for every single person. All I'm asking, don't buy my products. Obviously, buy it if you can, but it's not buying my product. All I'm asking you is read the labels, check prices, check quality, find a product you like. It's okay for you to spend more money if you think that the product is a better product, no matter what. Just like I'll give you an example. You have a mic, right? I can go in a store in Walmart, most probably buy for $10 a mic. But I will never tell you, Ellie, do it. Why? Because you are a professional. You need to have good quality mics so everybody can listen to you. So you're going to pay $500,000 for a mic because you know the value.
Yeah.
You can buy a drone for your kid to play. You can buy a drone for $25. It's going to crash the next minute on the roof, and then you're going to call fire department to take it down for you. Or you can buy the real ones and pay $1,200, and it works. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go buy a drone now, but for the idea of explaining what is it that I'm trying to do, that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Wow.
Smaller companies deserve a chance. For them, and for you. For you yourself alone. By helping the small-minded people, the small, tiny companies, you are helping yourself a lot more than you can think now, because we live in this life today where everything is the short term. We only think short term. We forget that most of the things happen in the long term. That's one of the things that I wanted to reply on what Baruch says. When we talked about a salesperson, when not to be pushy, depends how you look at it. If everything is about the short term, all you want to do is get that sale, get that sale, get that sale. But if that sale is only going to be a one sale, like you say, a roof, and that's done, and you keep on running after one person or one little thing, what does it really do? If you go the different angle, now it changes. That's why I think every salesperson needs to have the mindset long term. People ask me, so did business bring you relationships? I said, no. Relationships bought me business. So when I go into a store, the first thing I'm trying to do, actually get to know the guy on a personal level. I truly, genuinely enjoy the relationships that I have with people. It doesn't matter if I make the sale or I don't make the sale. I appreciate the time, the wisdom. Every single person has something to share with me. That is the people from sitting at the table on the other side that have the power, or the person that called me earlier saying that I'm helping his father. There is something to learn from each and every one. And that's what I'm trying to do as I do what I do. And that's what I'm trying to teach to people in the same way. So.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Laser, wow. I do have one more question in mind before we can still either chat or finish up. First of all, on everything that you said, I think it is beautiful. And that happens to be my passion with the social media, is directly I feel like we share a common space, because what we do with the social media is we do the same thing. We bring the product to the customer so that when they go into the grocery, they're aware of it. Instead of trying our luck by putting a product onto the shelf and he should guess that this is the new mayonnaise that he needs, by showing them some Instagram videos, and the women watch it, and they usually shop and make the decisions. They go and they find that product that works.
Correct.
And we did it with Carbolicious, a zero carb company, and their products are flying off the shelf and they're getting wholesale item or whatever. We did it with Dolce Chocolate, who sold out 55,000 bags in kosher groceries, who tried paper ads for a year and it didn't work. We did it with Skinny Coated and many other companies, where just by posting videos on social media, they're increasing sales like that. My question to you is, how do you make a sale? You come into a grocery. Is it by now that they already know you? So when you bring a new product, they're like, oh, laser, no problem, you brought a product. Or is it a convincing process? Do you sometimes have pushback from the owner or from the store manager where he's telling you, no, I don't want to take in the product?
A lot of pushback.
Okay, why?
And we'll get to the why.
Shelf space.
We'll get to the why a little bit later. But first, the idea. And again, I'll go back to what Baruch had this conversation with you a little bit, because I think it's important. One of the questions that I think you proposed to him, and I don't think, or at least what I heard, the explanation from him was very good, but I think one point was a little bit where I felt like I want to just add a little tiny bit. I don't think, at least 99% of the buyers are really good people. Like he said a point that nobody wakes up in the morning with intention to hurt your feelings.
Correct.
The reality is that when the buyer is the buyer and you are the salesperson,
he has the advantage. He has the edge.
Not the advantage. He is your customer, and there's two rules in business. Customer is always right.
Yeah.
And rule number 2 is if the customer is not right, go back to rule 1. The reason I'm
But
saying
I
that...
don't believe in that, by the way.
And you're right. It's not always right. If somebody abuses you, then stay away. Toxic relationships is never good.
Right, okay.
From any angle. Why I'm saying what I'm saying.
No, also in my business, I'm the one helping you. So I'm providing for you social media service. Like when it comes to Mishloach Munas, you should send me Mishloach Munas. And not in an egotistical, not nice way.
I understand.
My clients love me. They want... So when I'm asking you the question, that's why I asked you, do you have pushback or not? And I'm saying it because somehow you're here in a sense helping people. You're here bringing... both for the companies and for the people, you're bringing them the new ideas that are sometimes a lot cheaper. So the buyers should be throwing themselves at you.
So let's go on that
They should be calling you lazy. What's the new product that you
Which
can bring
they do. They do in a point. But
I'm sure you have a lot that do that.
Absolutely. So at the same point, you have to understand, the old word, venasni, goes back and forth.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. So you have to understand also, there's limited amount of space in a grocer. Every single week, there's hundreds of items coming out, and at the same time, hundreds of items falling off. That's the business.
That I didn't know, by the way.
Yes. Wow. Otherwise, impossible. Think about it. Every single week, you see ads of new products coming out. Products that don't succeed, don't. So one of the things that I do with my customers is, I'm very open with them.
And you've probably had that with hundreds of products.
Of course I've had it. And I will try everything in my power. I have no issues standing in a store and speaking to people, talking to people.
When it goes off, they just...
If the customer doesn't buy the product for whatever reason, either because the product is not the way it's supposed to be or whatever the reason is that didn't go, the only thing I can do is take your product, put it on the shelf, let's do some advertising, some marketing that works, which we came up with the idea of talking to people and the platforms that bring so much value. Even Trump, the president, also said when he spoke about the idea, one of the things that he felt he won was because his son Barron told him about the podcast. Now, I was never into podcasts. I mean, the whole thing is pretty new. But clearly, having a dialogue, having a conversation with you, and then obviously with you, I mean you and your listeners all at the same time. And people will tell me, even when I speak to Froim, and I get a lot of feedback. One time I put in my cell phone number, you don't know, I got blown up to the next level. But I heard back from a lot of them, I'm talking about hundreds, details on certain things. People honestly don't know. Like I told you when I started this conversation, people react subconsciously. They don't react conscious. The second the person starts thinking, so you know what?
Right.
There's actually truth in it. Maybe I should look a little bit. Why am I complaining so much? But I don't do anything to help myself in that round.
Right.
That's the idea.
So you're sitting down with a buyer, and what happens?
So under normal circumstances, there's a relationship. So you're talking about now someone has done it for so many years, so it's a little bit of a different story. You can have a conversation. First of all, I have to believe in a product. So you're going to ask me that question. So what if you don't believe in a product that you sell? I am sure there is more and less, but I will always find something really good about the product. Wow. And when I find that good part in the product,
now you can sell
that's what I'm selling. Another thing, a salesperson, you asked the question also a few weeks ago, a salesperson does not sell a product.
Wow.
A salesperson sells himself.
Wow.
The product is a poel yoitze of being a salesperson. That's not it. Mm-hmm. I am not selling you this. I am not selling you this. I'm not selling you this. I'm selling myself. So why do you think this is better than whatever? Sometimes it's going to be a regular canned tuna, but no. I am not better than the other company tuna. I still want to be on the shelf. Would you give me my space? Obviously, if I have a relationship, he would say yes. I'll give you a chance. If it doesn't move, I will take it back from you. That's another way I do business.
And what do you do then?
What do you mean? Listen, if I can get to enough store, only if I need to take it back after 3 months. So you have two options. Don't do it and don't get in. Or do it, get it and hope that it will take off. And if it takes off, you're good. And if it doesn't, you do something else. But because you took back whatever didn't go, he will gladly take another chance on another product because maybe that will hit. Yeah. So now I have 4 products from a company that I tried. 2 picked up, 2 didn't. But at least those 2 got into the store. Otherwise, these 2 would only be in the store, and then you have -4. So what is the point? Yeah. That's the idea. But I want to bring out the point that I said earlier. Buyers don't like to scream on salespeople. I'm talking about overall. There's always going to be a idiot of a salesperson that people just cannot stand. And when that happens,
Yeah.
It happens, like in any industry, I don't have to tell you. However, I think most of these people are really good people. But to explain what ends up happening. He's the buyer, day in, day out, sits with people all day, every day. This morning, this day, his wife screamed at him, his guy was nervous, his son didn't get to school, whatever it was. And he walks into the store and, hey, you are. Who are you? You're trying to sell me something. Do you know what hard they had? No, I can't say that. Can I now tell this guy my issues? So no, what am I doing?
Just going to say no and reject them. Yeah.
I'm venting, rejection. How are you going to react to that? Now, if you know how to deal with it, different story.
Right.
So now I'll tell you another story. We'll get to that point. Sometimes maybe too many stories, but it's stories that I feel that when you tell a story, the point gets across a lot clearer than the other way around. So at that time, I still lived in Monroe. And I wake up in the morning. It's 8 a.m. And my phone, I have 5 missed calls by 8 a.m. 8 a.m., 5 missed calls from one customer, that is not a good sign for 2 reasons. First of all, even if something is crazy good, I don't think there's one person that will call me 5 times before 8 a.m. to give me a compliment. He might try once, maybe. Like I said, I've heard it, but very little. But he might try once. That's it. So before I did anything, I have a shitta. If somebody has an issue with me, somebody has any kind type of issue, I like to face it face to face. Another thing, if salespeople ask me that question, I will tell them. I will face the music right in front of that person. Why? Very uncomfortable. That's even einer. You know, there are people who love to give you into you. For whatever the reason is, because they had a bad day, it doesn't really matter why. I don't think it comes from a bad space, but it happens. The reality is that if that comes up, that I feel somebody has an issue, I will go and approach that person and try to hammer it out right in front of both of us, because a lot of times, miscommunication, misunderstanding, did it mean this, did it mean that? Okay, I drive from Monroe to Muncie, so now I found a ticket in Muncie, it doesn't really matter, but it's irrelevant. And I make a stop in my warehouse, which was in Muncie as well. I walk in, and I say to my boss, I was like, good morning, Miss Maxter, how are you? How's everything? So I just want to say something before I go. I have an issue. Someone called me 5 times before 8 a.m. So I'm imagining that the guy has something that's bothering him. So I want to thank you. My boss looks at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what do you mean thank me for what? So, you know, people pay $200 an hour to go to a therapist. I'm going to take therapy now for free. I don't have to pay. It's going to happen, but I'm going to do it. And he asked me what's going on, so I told him, missed calls, gone stories, so I'm just assuming, maybe assuming is not always the right thing, but I've been doing it for a while, I have a little idea. So before I told him that, before I left, I said, my boss tells me, I want to tell you something. A word that I ever heard once, it might help you. So that we are saying Davening every single day. Shavasayni kabail, ishmatza kusaini, yedayat alimus, and unebechoyach. If you try just to say the simple word, Shavasayni kabail, nemu man gebet, shmatza kusaini, listen to my screaming, yedayat alimus, you know all the hidden things. Do you understand even what is being said here? Listen to my begging, listen to my screaming, because you know all the hidden things. If you are screaming at me, you're begging at me, what do you mean hidden? You can't be more clear and open-minded to me. What do you mean hidden?
Right, okay.
The answer is, it goes just with a break in the middle. Shavasayni kabai. Shmatza kasayni. So you would think that what I'm begging, or what I'm crying for, is the thing that bothers me. You know the real truth. You know what's bothering me.
Wow.
So I went with these words. It literally took me. I got these chills a little bit. I don't know how to explain it. I went out to that customer, and first thing I said, good morning, how are you? I have a few missed calls, so I imagine something is going on. What is the story? The guy opens up a mouth, starts screaming his tails off. And I couldn't even get to a point like, what is really bad? I don't know what it is. Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And after like 5 minutes, 6 minutes of like just giving him my all, so I'm here to fix it. Can you please tell me a little bit more? What happened? What is the story? What's going on? So the guy tells me, explain to me something about delivery. Basically, nothing with me.
Wow.
Meaning, with my company, small, tiny thing. He wanted to get something at a certain time. The truck came away. Pure, tiny, nada. So once he finished saying that, once he told me whatever was bothering him, and I see it's nothing, I said to him, before I came, I went to my boss, and I told him that you called me a few times, Miss Calls, and I imagine there's an issue. I don't know what the issue is. I'm going to go. And my boss told me a word. Ich will dir das übersuchen. And ich habe mir gesagt, der Wort von seine Kabbalah, Schmatzak, seine Seite. I finished him saying to him, the guy broke out in a laughter that you have never seen. I don't know if he saw himself a knitter or he recognized that his acting was actually for that reason and why I'm really screaming at this. Besides the point, I think people need to know no human deserves to be screamed at.
No.
Because everybody has feelings. There's no reason, even if you are above someone, to make that person feel below you. I don't think that is the way to go. Bottom line is that day, that order in that place was my biggest order with that customer to date. Meaning that day was the biggest order I made with that customer after this little episode that I had.
Wow.
So now you understand the point. When you hear somebody upset, so it's two things. Don't ever shove someone down. It's never, ever a good thing.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is the second part of it. When somebody does it to you, understand where it's coming from. It's not you.
No.
That person is going through something, and you are the one person that he can tell it to, which you should look at as a compliment that on you he will do it, he will not do it to someone else. Obviously, on the street, he has a name, he's a classy guy. With you, he knows he can, because you work together or you need him or whatever the story is. Yeah. And I'll just mix in one little more tiny story into this. I had a person that's a little bit edgy to a certain point. And once I took the gut and asked him, I say, why are you doing this? Why? I mean, I can handle myself. I can walk away. It's all good. Do you feel good when you raise your voice to salespeople? Because I saw him do it with a few people. And he tells me, I'll be honest with you. With a smirk in his face. He said, at home, I'm quiet. In shul, I'm quiet. Here is the only place I can open my mouth. You want me to shut up here too?
Wow.
So point is, how do you look at it? So if you are the one doing it, don't do it. It's not nice. If you're the recipient of getting it, understand where the guy is coming from. You think with those two things in mind, who else can piss you off? Yeah. All of a sudden, you're a winner. You're good. You feel good about yourself, confident, and that builds. The more you understand that no one is here to hurt you. Nobody's here to get you. Nobody wants anything from you. All they want is be listened to, being heard, being understood. And as a salesperson, if you can manage to do that,
unbelievable.
Bingo.
Wow.
I'm just telling you the way I see it.
Beautiful. I love it.
I'm seeing how I see it. So,
Rabbi Sai, I would sit here. It's almost 2 hours, the best.
No, don't tell me. Because I would tell you if there's any. No, Eli, because I would love you.
Almost 2 hours.
I would love you to ask any questions.
Yeah.
I would do. We want to do 5 minutes questions? Mm-hmm. Fire burn?
I was thinking, but you want to do that? Rapid fire. First of all, why is this mayonnaise not like this, and why is it like this?
One of the main reasons is most mayonnaise is in a big bottle, and when you finish the last 3-4 ounces of the bottle, you can't even get to. Okay. Because you got to put it in your hands and get dirty, and the spoon is not too big. There's special mayonnaise. You can pay $5 a special spoon.
But am I leaving it in my fridge, Azoy?
Yes. And I'll tell you something else. You want to see something very cool?
No, why not Azoy?
I'll tell you something. Yeah, you can leave it like this. Okay.
Okay.
You want to see something very cool? Also, based on customer reviews. If you think that your reviews makes no difference.
They want it like this?
But that's the way it is. Yeah, because the idea is it's a squeeze bottle, so it comes easier to use it.
So the Volsonzan of the bottle.
I'll show you something that was done only based on customer basis.
Okay. No way. So it's a brighter days, meaning.
All you got to do, squeeze a sandwich, beautiful, done, different. Because people told me that the hole is either too small, either too big. That's why I want to.
What's your favorite food product?
You're going to laugh at me. Skirt steak.
Nice.
I do it my own way.
Skirt steak.
I really think that I am a very good chef, personally.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I am. Wow. I'm actually thinking about doing a
podcast.
I love do it at home. I did before in Feather. I did once a video on a fruit jam. I have a fruit jam from the company called Passion Ruth, which is the only company in the world. I wouldn't say the world, but at least as far as I can see, even kosher, non-kosher, 100% fruit jam.
Wow.
Nothing, no sugar, no nothing, just fruit. Yeah. It's similar to perfection, and I use that a lot. Not necessarily for peanut butter and jelly, but people use it.
Skirt steak?
I use it for flanken.
Wow.
I did a flanken recipe, so simple. All you got to have is the simple spice that everybody else, salt, pepper, whatever you have, these kind of things. I mix up a bottle of like to use plum jam because it's not overly sweet, where if you use apple or peach or pear, it's more sweeter.
Yeah.
I like a little bit less sweeter, so cherry or plum, which has a little tanginess to it. I use that, mix it up with 2 cups of wine. That's it. Jam and wine, gespice the flanken in a bed of onions and garlic, pour this on top, close it tightly, put it in for 260, 4 hours. You will have flanken.
Yeah, out of the world.
That level is.
You still go to the grocery shopping, or you just go to the truck and you take stuff?
No,
and,
I go to the grocery shopping. I even tell my wife, I want her to buy products that I sell.
Because you're supporting it.
Supporting it, more than supporting it, I want to feel it. I want to feel the concept, the idea, and the ideas.
Wow.
I'm going to try to. I will do whatever I possibly can.
Nice. Wow, Lazer, I feel like there's so much more that we can talk about, but I have a good feeling that he would be open to be back for part 2 with other items, because this is a benefit to all these companies, and it's a benefit for us, the listeners. We enjoy hearing about food. So my last question, for real this time.
I'm good.
Do you want to name a few?
I would love to do maybe a rapid fire for an hour. I have no issue with that. Again, I might not remember every little tiny detail.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it can come in a story, as you know by now.
Yeah.
But overall,
people love stories. But tell me, I want to just hear a list of the companies that Masterco works with so that people know.
That one is going to have to remember. Like I said, I have 45 companies that I sell today.
Give us the top 10 or the biggest 10.
I'm just going to shoot out names. Okay. So I just spoke about Passion Ruth, which came out very unique, interesting products, more to the homey style, the homemade type style idea. Concept, like I said about the jams, they have a delicious type of corn. Different types of deal, they come out different. They came out with yellowfin tuna, which there are other companies out there, but literally if I have the price. So there is like it's a level that you got to play around. We have obviously the Melman, the mayonnaise, we have the Meister, the Beverages, that is a company. We have Musen, we have Grain Brain, we have Milsteins, we have Eggo's, we have Natural Earth. I have clearly Elegant. I have, let me think quick. I have Simply Gourmet. I have Man Appetite. I have Atlas. I have Jelly Belly. I have A Set Above, which is plastic dishes, paper dishes, whatever. You spoke about that. I got to that point. I have a lot of different things that maybe is not something you want to like go into details of different kind of stuff that we have. I have Hasidic gel, interesting Tasanta item. Basically a gel for the pious.
Not just food products.
No, anything that groceries sell. Doesn't really matter what it is. I have kishka, the only or the first kosher part of a kishka. You ask me, so what is the difference? My kishka is the only kishka in the market, that is really made to take the meat kishka, which is officially kishka, in the texture, but parv. Which is almost impossible to find, because everything else today became a little, it's like more like, handiki kishka is delicious, but it's more like a cake.
Yeah.
It's flour, it's paprika, it's oil, sugar, that's all it is. Where mine has carrots, celeries, onions, that kind of stuff. So people who want to actually eat something real good, that is that type of item.
By the way, Lazer, you'll be happy to know the only other podcast that went this long was the one with Lipa Schmelzer.
Really? So I hope that your listeners are not going to get upset at me.
No. I felt like food kan man ei big heren wegen. Es gab's nicht like, we're not doing a healing podcast. Man redt nicht du fink an. Na, ich hab's gemeist nicht. Man redt a ganze Zeit wegen food. It's different stories, different Sachen. It's very interesting.
And it's like just ein Kleinke before you end is I truly believe that all the listeners from all the platforms that you deal with, I'm talking to you. All I'm trying basically to do is open the eyes and the minds and understand it's always good to learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I have learned from people that I would never ever think I would learn from them.
Wow.
Wow. You could learn from every single person, and I will never push away a person regardless if he's older than me, younger than me, smarter than me, more dumb than me.
Yeah.
I will try to give them my time, my ear. I try to do what I have to do, and I ask for the same back. No, I'm trying to do the same thing. All I'm trying to do is do whatever I can in any way to make awareness, and who knows? It can help us both. So,
I was fascinated. Really, very interesting stuff.
I appreciate it. Thank you,
Lazer. And thank you all the listeners. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking the podcast, commenting. I always say if there's enough comments and likes and enough questions, then I'll be happy, and I believe Lazer will also be happy to come back, do a part 2, discuss more about food, show more food products. So leave a comment, give positive feedback. If there's a way to reach out to him, email number, whatever that is, I'll leave it also in the description. Remember to share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, or subscribe wherever you are. Remember to support our sponsors. There's so many sponsors that we have. And also remember that you can subscribe to the membership, which is $10 a month. It helps us cover the cost. And from every podcast, we release a few minutes extra bonus content, which I'm going to do also here with Laser, record another few minutes of us talking after the podcast is done, and that you can watch over there if you are subscribed to the membership. That being said, thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you.